and welcome to a new episode of the All About Branding series that I've got going on. It's in a podcast, it's in a live stream, it's in IG Live. Welcome to all that are joining me. If you're watching on YouTube or on Instagram here, I had to think about which social medias I'm on, you're going to see me in this suit. I don't really rock up in a suit in my social media. I don't think I have at all, maybe once. Suit up, here we go, Barney Stinson. Today I'm going to be talking about real estate branding. And typically for all the different bits of content that I've made so far in the All About Branding series, it has been about branding in general, to give you a bit of a lay of the land, different ways and thinking that I have for branding in general that you could apply to any type of business, be it a product-based business, a personal brand, or even a service-based business like my own. Now today and this week, I'm focusing on offering the secrets to creating and growing, or developing and growing, an effective real estate agency brand, especially for those of you who are an independent agency and you're competing with franchise-based real estate agents, especially here in Australia. It's quite prevalent. We have quite a few big real estate agency franchises that are nationally known. And for you as individuals, as independents, it's quite hard to compete, I guess, when you have an established brand sitting at the other end of the street competing for the same type of business. But here we are. I'm going to give you the secrets that I have learned and come to apply to those that I've been working with the past 2 to 3 years here in Australia with some real estate agents, both franchise-based businesses, which I can't really show that work, but for the independent work that I've done, you'll be able to see that on my website. Because when you drive into any town, be it along the main drag of shops like I have here in Lithgow where I now live, there's about 5 different real estate agents on that one main street, or along a suburban street, and you're going to likely see a sign for a real estate agency. Now, me being a branding consultant and having worked with these types of agencies in the past and currently as well at the moment, some clients have been part of these national franchises, and then some have been, as I said before, independent agencies. And in that time, I've come to understand what many of you do and don't do, if you're a real estate agent, that is, to compete in your market, to sell your clients' homes for the best price possible, and maintain that steady rent roll. Now, for those of you that aren't real estate agent people, you might be a branding person listening, watching to this, stick around, because this understanding of what you can do for your clients the same way that I do for my own might be helpful for you to help your clients. So some real estate agents do exceptionally well, while others, I'll say this gently, just simply tick the necessary boxes to building and growing and developing their brand. While there's no real 100% foolproof road to success in having brand success, having business success, especially in real estate, there are a few secrets that I would like you to be aware of and for me to share with you here on this live stream or on this podcast, or if you're watching this back on YouTube. So I want you to help you grow your business and become the go-to brand in your town, or maybe in your region, maybe even nationally, if you have that real blue sky thinking. So this guide is for you if you're an independent real estate agency, or maybe you're thinking of starting your own. Currently, you might be an agent within a franchise business, thinking of breaking away, starting your own thing. And these secrets relate to developing and growing your brand, as I'm going to say time and time again, with branding and marketing. But before I start, I want to take you through a few key terms. I know you guys have all your terms and I'm trying to learn that lingo, but in terms of my world and helping you, these are the foundations of developing and growing any brand, not just a real estate brand. And the first definition I want to give you is a captivating moment of connection. So this is my definition for what a brand is. A brand is a midpoint between your business and your consumers that captivates their attention to connect with you and your business. They want to buy from you from that. They want to remember you, and they're going to remember you as their go-to brand. So this also applies to your business and your team. that brand is that midpoint between both, to form a good understanding of what the business is there to achieve, and to support a culture as a result that your team will thrive in, which in turn helps your business and brand thrive. It's a nice little cohesive circle that just works together. Now, all of this is developed from clarity. And this is why my definition of branding, as an extension of that brand definition, is to create captivating moments of connection from clarity. So branding is the act of understanding what the brand stands for internally and who it's connecting with externally from clear communication through visual, identity, logo, colors, all that kind of thing. And then your messaging, how you communicate verbally and in written form. And that's all informed by a strategic positioning that you have, which is a fancy way of saying what you want to be remembered for, so that you can be that go-to brand. Now, all of this was ridiculously wordy, and it's very purposefully jargony. They're very intentional words, and they really do apply to your real estate brand, as this is the secret to developing a strong brand. So to put it into context for you as an independent agent or agency, I'm going to break this guide down into 3 parts to offer you a few secrets that lead to that brand success. And funnily enough, based on those definitions, they are clarity, captivate, and connect. So let's start with clarity. When you started your agency, you placed yourself in a town or a geographic territory that you can service. And I know for a fact that even if you're in the middle of Nowheresville, you've got competitors. You've got competitors in that town, which means you're vying for the attention of property owners or investors or buyers or sellers, anyone in the community that has a property or is intending to buy or live in a property. But which owners, which investors, which renters? To answer this question, it requires clarity. Getting clarity of your brand comes down to 3 things. The first is knowing who your most viable markets are and what they need. It might only be one market, it might be a few. And then you want to know how to get under their noses, in front of the competitors, and knowing what you'll then do to position your brand as a go-to choice that they know they need to help them in their endeavors to sell their home, to buy their new investment property, or to find a great tenancy home to live in, kind of like where I am now. In other words, know thy customer like the back of your hand. So to achieve that first point, put simply, we need to research the existing market and look at statistics, all that kind of home buying data, all that kind of stuff. You know what that is. We then need to identify the types of sellers, investors, renters, and property types into segments. And then we choose the most viable segments to then target our efforts towards and list out their needs, their wants, all these kind of things, either by asking them. And by asking, I mean you can turn to past clients or do a bit of market research in your community. Because if you can do that, then you'll identify where and how to get under their noses and position your brand as the go-to choice. And this is where captivating and connection comes in next. So to captivate is to draw in your consumer's attention, and let's say in this case, it's to attract the property owner looking to sell their property. But how do we do that? So here's a few ways that you can do that. And I'm not saying this is the be all end all. There's many, many more, but these are 3 things that you can do to get in front of that individual and captivate their attention. The first is brand colors. It's no joke that I wear pink like it's going out of fashion. It's everywhere. I'm wearing a pink tie tonight. I didn't even know I had a pink tie, but I haven't worn it since I think my graduation. So there you go. I've been using pink since 2010. There we go. So using brand colors that are distinctively unique to your competitive landscape. So if one competitor uses red and the other uses yellow for their brand colors, you could use blue. It might sound really simple, but being known as the only blue real estate agent in town might really serve you well, to be remembered for that. Color is that first thing that we see, and if your consumers can't recognize and remember you for a color or colors, because you're using similar colors to other agents it might be time to change them. The second point that you could do is look at your property billboards. And they are more than just a board that is saying to people that you are the one selling that property. The more billboards potential sellers see posted around town, the more likely they believe you're going to be the go-to choice if so many others have chosen you. Sure, you can't put a billboard on properties if you're not selling or renting them, but you can put billboards and signage and other ads in other places to be constantly seen, which is where marketing your brand comes into play. So none of that is rocket science, but the point is that if those boards aren't present, easily visible and highly distinguishable for a consumer to identify your brand when driving past, especially at speed, then you really need to relook at designing and a captivating sign to be noticed and remembered. And the same goes for any type of media. The more you show up, the more opportunities you have to captivate attention, even if they don't need your services right now. Those efforts pay off over time when they do need what you have to offer. And there's a statistic that goes around. It's quite an old statistic, I think, by now, but at least 7 impressions of your brand are needed for a buyer to make a choice in your brand. So if you show up in all these different ways, time and time again, consistently, they'll think of you when they need you most. They might not need you now, but when the time comes, you're going to be the first that pops to mind. Hopefully. Now, the third point is that my dad once told me that presentation is 9/10 of the battle, and boy, did I show up today. Usually I'm in a black t-shirt. And this is why what you wear and how you present yourself as an agent can also captivate the attention and set the tone for the type of service you're going to deliver. Because it's no coincidence, that's the word I'm looking for, that agents who sell $1 million properties, you've seen them on all those glitzy TV shows, and that's TV land, but still, they show up the same way. They show up in expensive, well-designed, and tailored attire. And they're very well put together people. They pride themselves in their appearance. So how you present yourself, in addition to how your own demeanor is communicated, can capture that attention and affirm a consumer's choice to work with you. Because that well put together presence in you alone, and maybe your team as a collective, can instill confidence in your services. Especially when this is one of the most significant financial events a consumer can engage in terms of a buying decision or even a selling decision. Your consumers are likely looking for the right people on their side that look like they know what they're doing upon first impression, so that you can ultimately deliver on that perception, if you get what I mean there. So these are just 3 examples of many, as I mentioned before. But in essence, you want these first impressions to count, so that your consumers are confident in your brand before connecting and engaging your services. And it's why the real estate franchise brands that have been established for many years succeed at attracting the most customers. Because the more times a consumer is exposed to your brand, the more likely they are to think that you are the go-to choice, because they're thinking of you first. And you look like a reputable brand if you're showing up everywhere and looking the part, sounding the part, and then delivering on that, especially with word of mouth. I'm going to get to that in a second. Because it's true that bigger agencies have that advantage of a perception consumers will have that makes them think that they're more competent, more trustworthy, or simply better just because they're a well-known name that are nationally present and have a well put together brand that instills confidence at first glance. However, you and I both know that who you're actually competing with are just franchise owners, not brand owners. Just because they have a reputable name behind them doesn't mean they have a reputable service as a franchisee. You have the advantage to put your personality and your service into your brand and offer a unique brand experience that excels above the rest, as you can put your brand out there in ways others can't without getting a slap across the knuckles, let alone not needing to pay someone else to be the face of their brand. That is something I can't work out as a franchisee in real estate. But without clarity to begin with, outdoing your competitors by creating these captivating moments isn't going to be as strategically appropriate to the types of sellers that you hope to attract and then connect with. For example, let's say it's retiring couples who are downsizing in their late 60s, 70s. Are they going to be on TikTok like a 30-year-old me selling my home would be? Probably not. So you can captivate their attention elsewhere, and your marketing and your brand plan in the places can be targeted, at the places that they're likely to be exposed to and be appropriate in the nature of when they want to hear it, when they're going to see it, all those kind of things, which is the reason for getting that brand and marketing plan right in the first place. It needs to be done in some way, shape, or form. It's like a business plan. The one caveat, though, to mention here is that while you may captivate a property owner now, they might not want to sell their property at that time. I mentioned this earlier as well. The most important impressions the more impressions that are created, especially if done consistently by getting them into your network of contacts to offer value over time, the more likely those property owners are going to think of you first when they need your services and want to connect, or there's someone in their network that they can refer you onto. Now, a big part of what makes a real estate brand so successful in the long term are the connections that you make with your consumers. For brands in other industries, it might be repeated customer experiences that develop these connections, or it could be immediate connections from upfront value that you give your consumers with a quick win or an insight into what they're hoping to achieve to make an emotional connection that then hopefully leads to a buying or selling decision. So just like the last 2 points, here are 3 ways that you can achieve these connections with your consumers as a real estate agent. The first is showing up as an agent that goes beyond open for inspections and being in your office when needed. You need to show up more than that. There is a great opportunity to reach and connect with ideal consumers in many ways that can help generate new leads and create a reputation as a person your audience can connect with, which is something a logo realistically can't do, especially in real estate. It can't convey these connections, which is an advantage you have as an independent agent over a franchise brand agent. Many consumers only see the corporate franchise brand that franchisee agents need to align with and align with that corporate identity that is in place. Whereas you have the opportunity to sink your personality and life into the connections you make with those that you can serve in a genuine manner that aligns with the brand that you put out there and connect with your community. This means getting on camera to generate video content, kind of like what I'm doing here, for your site or social media. Be directly available on social media in your direct messages or on like a little website chatbot. Show up and host events or even host a podcast. Again, this is what I'm doing. This availability can help create connections prior to a consumer even meeting you and help them make their decision based on the confidence that they have in your character, let alone your services. I talk about this a lot, being more than what it is you sell. So that, number 2, this is the second point here, when you do show up, you need to offer some value. Rather than just touting sales figures in your Instagram content, or other many different things of just saying, look, we sold a new house, we sold it for this price, we've got this new listing, come and see this open inspection. Rather than talking about yourself, develop an experience of moments a consumer can benefit from to help inform their decision to choose you over others. So this could include helpful tips in your social media content with videos of your team explaining them, or holding community events that relate to real estate maybe in a specific way, or maybe a general way, and give attendees something to walk away with to feel positive and informed. You could even have guest speakers, food, giveaways, entertainment, all the works that make someone want to be there and connect with you as a result. There's just a few ideas, but the best part is that you could even make content that isn't directly talking about property. For instance, and Gary Vee uses this one quite a bit, especially because he's a wine guy, but you could make a podcast about wine and have existing clients sit down for a chat about their experience with you and your team. You could also talk about their favorite wine and also talk about more about them and what they do that might be of value to your audience, as this might help you connect with audiences on a different level that other agents aren't doing. And the last one here is testimonials. They can be gold when a consumer is comparing their options of all the different agents that are out there to choose from. And it's why we have in Australia Rate My Agent. And there's other rating systems for agencies where past consumers can relay their experience for others to feel just as confident as those who have successfully used your services. Especially if positive reviews outweigh the perceived greatness of other long-established brands, and even market-leading sales stats that might not really paint the full picture, if you know what I mean. You know what the ones I'm talking about, who just sell like crazy at any price, so as long as they make their quotas in franchise land. So take comfort in the weight of the words others have to say about your brand, as they can make a tremendous impact on more sellers and investors and other buyers and renters in your agency over others. And for that reason, it's why I say that you should never forget about the experience that you deliver for your renters. Sure, they might not be buyers now, but if you do offer a great experience to them, think about their network of family, friends, and colleagues, as they might be the people, those renters, who refer your brand to those who are about to sell their property or wanting to invest in a property in the area. Additionally, those people can be the advocates for your brand that leave positive reviews of their experience for buyers, investors, and sellers to see that you care about all of your consumers. Because each of these suggestions not only influences the relationships you can develop with your consumers before, during, or after engaging with you, but they can also become memorable moments that are shared with others, as it leads to creating greater confidence in your business to help sellers, investors, buyers, renters make an informed decision as a result of you being a brand that took the time to create captivating moments of connection as a result of clarity. I'm bringing it all home here. Where the value comes in though. Knowing who you're targeting saves unnecessary time and money trying to be for everybody and marketing to everyone. As you grow your market presence, you can and should definitely target as many consumers as possible, but it does pay to direct your attention at particular segments that are available to you. For example, if you know which properties you are best at selling, you can do a letterbox drop at those leaflets, there's DL leaflets, in a more targeted manner at those types of properties, rather than just dropping them into every letterbox you can. As I said before, it isn't to say that you shouldn't mass market to everybody, but if you are a relatively new agency, chances are that your budget for marketing and advertising is going to be a little bit lower. So it's an idea to go a little more narrow with a target market that saves you time and budget to connect with them and is, of course, viable for your business to succeed. Then, of course, as you grow bigger, you can expand your market wider if needed, or even specialize to command a reputable standing amongst your ideal consumers. Maybe increase your commission possibly by a few extra little percentage points. Because when it comes to investing in branding and marketing, your budget and time investment can be determining factors. However, the return on investment in real estate can be significantly profitable, just like selling a home in the short term. depending on how well you get your branding and marketing on point. For example, imagine this scenario, if you will, if all went to plan here. If an initial brand identity investment is at around $10,000, which is my typical starting fee for branding to create your identity, the new branding targets and helps attract 5 sellers to want to sell their property with your agency. Now, your average commission is most likely around $20,000 per property sold, based on average house pricing being about $800,000. With none of that really going to, or at all, because you're an independent, none of that going to a corporate office, given you are that independent agency. 5 sales end up happening at your average sale price in just 12 months, in addition to the rest that you typically sell and your rent roll and all those other things that you have as revenue generators. So the ROI on those 5 sales after that $10,000 investment is $90,000. So you're making $100,000 for spending $10,000. It's a 900% return on investment for those 5 property sales, let alone the many years after, when your branding and marketing continue to attract sellers, investors, renters, buyers to manage and sell their property with you. Even if your branding alone only attracted 2 more sellers that successfully sold with you, you've still doubled your money. Is that not worth it to you? So how can I help? Well, how I can help is that I can help you gain clarity. Creating captivating moments and developing connections with consumers is what I do for independent real estate agents like you. I help you develop your brand strategy, which is understanding your consumer and who they are and how to position your brand and what to do next to achieve that. I can help you develop an identity which includes your colors, logo, voice, messages, and personality. And I can also help you roll all of this out by marketing your business to create a brand under the noses of your consumers with touch points and experiences such as a website, signage, brochures, stationery, digital content, events, podcasts. There's more and more and more. So that I can help you connect with more consumers over time to help you develop and grow a brand that helps you achieve greater business success. So if now is the right time and you want help to successfully develop that new brand, or maybe refresh your existing one with a clear direction to take you in, say g'day today to achieve this success by scheduling a call with me. And you can find the links on my website, g'dayfrank.com, and we can help grow your brand tomorrow. So with that, that is the end of this live stream, this podcast episode. Thank you so much for joining. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. But for now, you can catch more content. I'm going to be posting more reels on Instagram and across on TikTok if you're on there. Like everybody is not apparently, or is, who knows, making crazy dancing videos. But at the end of the day, here we are in May. It's nearly the middle of the year. Lots of things are going on, working with a lot more clients, and I hope to work with more of you very, very soon. But if not, I will see you very soon with more content, or in 2 weeks with another one of these. Bye. Okay.